Chris Cornell's widow took to Congress to push for healthcare reforms to help other people suffering from addiction. That, plus an NBA legend, is helping kids get an education. And we hear brand new music from Tadashi and Trip Lee. It's all coming up. This is Relevant Daily.
Relevant Daily.
Hey everyone, welcome to Relevant HQ. I'm Cameron Strang, and welcome to Relevant Daily, where we bring you what you need to know today at the intersection of faith and culture. Before we get into those stories, I want to tell you today's episode is brought to you by Squarespace. Whether you need a landing page, a beautiful gallery, a professional blog, or an online store, it's all possible with Squarespace. They have award-winning templates, customizable settings, even powerful e-commerce solutions, all without a single plugin. And right now they're offering Relevant Daily viewers a special deal. Head over to squarespace.com/relevant for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch your website, use the offer code RELEVANT to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. I've used that code many times. I've used Squarespace for years, and we are very grateful they're sponsoring Relevant Daily. Okay, well, let's get into it. To tell us more about this news about Chris Cornell's widow, we are welcoming on our very own Jesse Carey. Welcome, Jesse.
Yeah, thanks, Cameron. Yeah, so Vicky Cornell, who's the widow of Chris Cornell, who is the frontman for the legendary band Soundgarden and numerous other bands, who tragically died by suicide in recent years. She was addressing the bipartisan heroin and opioid task force and explained why addiction can lead to so many other difficult issues, including mental health issues, depression, and even suicide. Here's what she said as part of her address to lawmakers. She said, "The part that hurts most is Chris's death was not inevitable. There were no demons that took over. Chris had a brain disease and a doctor who, unfortunately, like many, was not properly trained or educated on addiction." And, she recently actually sat down with Robin Roberts of ABC News, who Robin Roberts is famously a cancer survivor. And the two talked about how mental health issues and addiction should be treated like a disease, like cancer is treated like a disease, including remission. Here is what they had to say.
People say, can't blame yourself, and I'm trying not to. But there were signs.
You can't blame yourself, Vicky. You relapse after cancer. I had a relapse and nobody questioned it. Why is it when you have an addiction, which is an illness, why is it any different? It's not.
People don't recognize it as a disease. And I feel guilty of the same thing.
So what is she specifically advocating for on Capitol Hill?
Yeah, so what Vicky was trying to convince lawmakers to do is to see that a lot of Chris Cornell's issues stemmed from being addicted to doctor-prescribed medicine. So these weren't like drugs that were obtained on the street, and that the healthcare system should have more safety nets in place for people suffering from addiction. Here's one of her quotes. She said, "We must integrate addiction treatment into our healthcare system." And she said, "No more false narratives, no more need to hit rock bottom, no more secret societies." And this is the point that I think is really important, especially for a lot of people listening, no more shame. She says, "We must educate healthcare providers on how to treat addiction and best support recovery." What she's ultimately looking for is there to be a comprehensive solution to integrate addiction into mainstream medicine. And Kevin, the kind of the encouraging thing here is fighting the opioid epidemic is really a bipartisan issue. There are very few truly bipartisan issues in politics right now, but this is one that both sides want to come together and help fix.
Yeah, it seems like criminal justice reform recently, and now fighting the opioid crisis are really literally the only two things that is getting support across the aisle on Capitol Hill. It's encouraging.
Yeah, for sure. And especially the approach that she is taking, because up to now, a lot of weight gets put on people who are actually suffering from addiction to say, hey, go get help, go find the help you need. But what she's saying is we can train doctors who are actually ones on the front lines interfacing with patients and have access to these different potentially dangerous drugs. If we can train them on the signs of addiction and provide them with treatment options, it could be a major solution that we could introduce into our healthcare system, which has tons of resources for things like this.
I think it's interesting. It is unrelated, but during basketball, the Cigna Healthcare is running a national ad campaign with celebrities saying, like, listen, if you're struggling with anxiety or depression or other things that are mental health issues, talk to your doctor, your medical care provider. And I think it's interesting, the shift that it's not about psychologists and then medical doctors being separate, but it's a holistic approach, which now maybe adding support for addicts as well, and kind of be in that trend. That's interesting.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, speaking of watching basketball, I'm a big basketball guy. You have some news about a former NBA legend.
Yeah, legend. Kareem AbdulJabbar, he held 6 championships, like 6 MVPs. Everything you can win in basketball, Kareem AbdulJabbar has won in basketball. So he's got these trophy cases in his house of all the hardware that he's won over the course of career. But he's decided to auction it all off to benefit the Skyhook Foundation. This is a foundation that he founded, named after his jump shot that he perfected and I use daily in my games at the rec center, which gives kids from disadvantaged areas opportunities to attend week-long camps centered around science and nature. Now, Cameron, before we started recording this, I realized the irony that behind me, I have an autographed picture of Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, NBA memorabilia. To be fair, this was bought at a charity auction, so I don't feel too bad about having that up while I read this slice. But here's what Kareem AbdulJabbar said, and this was, man, this was like a really moving quote, especially for someone, Cameron, you're a big NBA fan. You know how important getting the rings are for these guys, literally and figuratively. But here's what Kareem AbdulJabbar said. He said, when it comes to choosing between storing a championship ring or a trophy in a room, or providing kids with an opportunity to change their lives, the choice is pretty simple. Sell it all. Looking back at what I've done with my life, instead of gazing at the sparkle of jewels or gold plating, celebrating something I did a long time ago, I'd rather look into the delighted face of a child holding their first caterpillar and think about what I might be doing for their future. That history has no price. Man.
It's kind of like you looking into the delighted face of a child as you do your patented Skyhook in your YMCA games, and then you mock them relentlessly as you go back down the court.
Yeah, and then I call a foul. And one, kid, get your hands off me. Cameron, listen, I feel like, listen, this is for a good cause. Yeah. If you or anyone else listening wants to bid on one of these auctions, guess how much his 1985 Los Angeles Lakers championship ring, one made for Kareem AbdulJabbar, a legend, guess how much it's going for right now?
$50,000.
The current bid is $90,000. People, if you want it, go and get it. It's going to help kids in need, you know?
Wow. Mortgage your house if you have to.
Yeah, and also, hey, some new music dropped today. Did you see this?
Oh, yeah. I mean, literally just a brand new music video just came out from Tadashi and Trip Lee, right?
Yeah, so Tadashi has a new album that's, in the works. The album's called Never Fold, and he just released the first single. The video literally just came out. The song's called God Flex. Here it is, Tadashi featuring Trip Lee.
God bless me, y'all. God flex me, y'all. God dress me, y'all. Don't stress me, y'all. God bless me, y'all. God flex me, y'all. God dress me, y'all. Don't stress me, y'all.
Good stuff. They are heading out on a huge tour, and they're coming through our area. All the Reach Records guys. So who knows? We might have some big time cameos on an upcoming Relevant Daily. I don't know.
Yeah,
we haven't lined it up. I'm saying I literally don't know, but.
That's a question. Oh, you're asking me. I don't know either. I've been on this Kareem AbdulJabbar auction site, and I'm trying to. Placing some bits here.
That's awesome. Well, listen, hey, tune in. All day long, we're posting stuff like this at relevantmagazine.com. There's a lot more stories in addition to those few. Follow us on Twitter at Relevant. You can follow us on Instagram at Relevant Magazine. And again, check out the homepage, relevantmagazine.com, all day long for the latest at the intersection of faith and culture. Hey, while you're there, get the magazine. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next issue.
Yeah.
Hey, Jesse, great job, man. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this episode. Remember, squarespace.com/relevant for a free trial, and use promo code relevant for 10% off. All right, everybody, that's Relevant Daily. We'll see you tomorrow.
Relevant Daily.